Pulsex and Pulse Chain are going to be launching very soon. According to Richard Hart, latest, probably about 14 days from today, which is the 10th, so that would be the 24th of May, 2022. That's pretty cool. Well, one of the things that you're going to be able to do is provide liquidity. So I wanted to touch on 4 things to look out for providing liquidity. Well, this is my framework. Like, this is what I use. You can use it if you like it. If you find value in it, fucking take it, right? And then 3 bonus things. But this is going to relate more to Uniswap because these features are not available on Pulse yet, or Pulsex yet, but they will be probably next year when they become available in open source. Currently they're not open source, but we'll talk about that as well. How somebody can actually not have any slippage when trading. Interesting, right? Also, how to avoid the fee, the 0.3% fee for Uniswap or the 0.29% fee for Pulsex. As well as the last one here, you can trade without moving the market. And there's different ways to enter into positions or get out of positions. So we're going to talk about all of those in this video. But first, if this is your first time here, what's good? My name is Sam, and for those of you who are returning, it is good to freaking see you. Now, if you are returning, you haven't already subscribed, what is going on, man? You should already be subscribed and press the bell notification so you get notified when I drop a video. Some links down below if anybody does want to support it. Also, if you want to jump over to Twitter, there's a link down below for Twitter. I highly recommend checking Twitter out. I'm very active over there as well. So let's get into this video. I would love it if Pulsex had concentrated liquidity, but they don't have that because if you look at Uniswap, let's just go to the front. Uniswap here, when this came out, approximately exactly a year ago, May of 2021, they put the code for Uniswap in this type of license that expires in 2 years. So when you hear Richard Hart mentioning that in a year or so, Pulsex will have concentrated liquidity and limit orders, that is what he's talking about because of that. So I wanted to talk about this because they're super interesting. Just give you that for context. But what we're going to first take a look at is those 4 factors that I look at for a pair, and then we'll get into those other things in a moment. So first of all, I have to be okay with holding either one of the tokens. So when you're providing liquidity, you're going to provide liquidity for 2 pairs. You have to be okay with holding either one of those pairs. So if you don't know fundamentally what the project is about or anything about it, probably not a good idea to do that, because you could be left holding something that's a scam and going to 0, and there's no liquidity for you to get out. Number 2, and this is not, number 2 and 3 could be switched. I think 3 is probably actually should be switched with 1, but this is how I wrote it down. Low TLV. This doesn't necessarily have to be low, but probably better for certain things. That's the total value locked in a pool. So if you go to info.uniswap.org, right? That's what this is, where you can just go to their site and then click over to this information. This gives you the TLV, right? Total value locked in this pool. So that's the USDC and ETH pool at 0.3% fee. So in this pool here, for this fee, there's $350 million locked in that pool. And if you look, the next thing here, which is number 3, is 24-hour and 7-day trading volume. You want that to be high. right? So this is high, but when you think about these things here, you need to understand like relatively high, right? Actually, this is actually a 1.47 billion dollars between the USDC and ETH here. That's pretty crazy, and 7 billion total, right? So you can pull up a calculator like this. Let's change this to this, and I think that was this pair, right? So this is USDC and ETH, 0.05% fee. In this pool here, there's $237 million locked up. So let's come over here to this calculator. We've got ETH and USDC, this pool here, and let's get this here and see. Okay, so it's currently out of the price range, but we'll get to that in a moment. Now, when you're looking at these, when I'm looking at these pools, this is attractive because I look at the ratio of volume to the size of the pool. So if you look at this, this is going to be 1,400, right? So 1.47 billion divided by 237. Right, so this is a 6x. So there's a lot more trading volume in this pool. What does that mean? If you have a high volume and a low pool size, as in this case here, there's more fees to be earned. That's all. That's it. You want both of those things, because if you think about the liquidity pool, if you're in a pool with $250 million worth right here, this pool, first of all, you have to be okay with holding either USDC or ETH, like all of one or all of the other. So if you're putting in 10 grand, are you okay with holding all USDC or all ETH? If the answer is yes, and you're comfortable and you understand both of those, cool, right? This pool here, this is ETH and ICE. I have no idea what ICE is. So that's a no bueno. That's a no-go for me. I have no idea what ICE is, the ICE token here. No effing idea what it is. It looks like there's also barely any trading volume on this one. Oh, there we go. There's not a ton of trading volume. But let's go back here, because we're going to get off topic because I like looking at this kind of stuff. Anyways, okay, so right with that one, if you don't know the token, I wouldn't personally do it, but you do whatever works for you. The size of the pool here, and either the 7-day or the 24-hour transactional volume, because remember, things happen and you can have spikes of volume, so you might have a 24-hour spike. But if we went back to that pair we were just at, I think it was ICE or something, this pair right here, right? This section here is the volume over some period of time. I think like the last 24 hours or something. It doesn't actually say what the volume of this is, but you get to see, oh here, it's the time, yeah. So 20, this is per month, it looks like, or per day per month. October, November, right? We're getting into October. There's a boatload of volume here, and then it's just died off, and there's barely any volume. You can see there's like $44, $4,000, $63 worth of volume. So there's no fees to be earned if it's 63 bucks, right? So you don't want to be in a pool like that. And by taking the ratio of these things, you can get in a good pool, like the USDC to ETH, right? That was the one that we pulled up over here, I think. Yes. Now, those are going to be the 4 things that I'll use for my framework. Let's talk about not paying any slippage, also being able to trade for free with no fee, and some interesting ways to get into or out of a position. Because you can do this with Uniswap, right? Because as we mentioned, it's not going to be available when Pulsex launches, but hopefully it should be coming soon after that. Cheers, thumbs up to this video. Okay. Now, in this, let me just show you what this looks like here so you guys can get an idea. Okay. You can see this pink line here. This pink line here is where the current market price is for USDC, right? It's 2,300 bucks roughly per ETH. So these, when you're in here, it's going to make sense when it's USDC to ETH. But if you pulled up ETH and anything else, it wouldn't necessarily make sense because it's always a ratio of one to the other. We just know USDC as a dollar, so that's why this would be 2,300. And then this section here, where you see these two little green bars, these are the concentrated position. So if you look at the chart by my head here, this is the, they call it the correlation, but this is just the price of one as a ratio relative to the other. As you can see, the price of USDC for ETH here is 2,900 back in, on the 25th or something like that, and traded around 3,000, and it's been coming down further, right, to 20, now it's at 2,300 and change, right? We just saw that. So these green lines are what allows you to provide the liquidity and in a concentrated way. What does that mean? If you're using Pulsex, Pulsex is just basically going to be a copy of V2. So in V2, Uniswap, when you provide liquidity, you're providing liquidity across the entire range of possible future prices. That means that you're just for example, right, you're providing a liquidity across a range from 0 to say 100. And you can put that in relation to anything. And where you make the fees is where the price is. So if the price is trading at 75 in that scale of 0 to 100, then at 75 you are making fees. At 100, at 0, at 25, at 35, at 45, at 55, at 65, you're not making any fees. So when you look at V3, and this will be coming to Pulsex, I believe, next year in May, you can actually concentrate this so you only provide liquidity in a specific range. So this does two things. If you think impermanent loss is something that like you don't fully understand, that it's a sunk cost, right? It's a opportunity cost, and you don't grasp that, then you should probably not be doing this. I mean, like, it's pretty. If you think it's a scary thing, then don't do this shit. I'm not recommending. First of all, I'm not recommending you do any of the things in these videos. First, let's just get that off the plate, right? But if you think impermanent loss is like something to be scared about, then you should not be doing this. Period. Okay. Why is this super cool? Because you can drastically increase your return. So let's just set this range here. Right, where you can see this thing here, the liquidity position, and these bars here is where people are providing liquidity over. So we're going to provide liquidity not over that whole range, but we're going to provide it over, how about this? And you get to see the chart next to my head here, right? There's room down here, and there's room up here above where the current price is, right, in this chart, because the pink is the current price. So let's take a look at the fees here. Let's do $10,000, right? So if I were depositing $10,000 in this price range, right here, and the volume was to stay about where it is for ETH USDC, trading between those two, you earn about 8% per month, 100% annually. Let me repeat that. You earn 8% per month and 100% annually. My guy. My background is in legacy finance. And if I told anybody at the bank I used to work at that you can make 8% a month, they just would think that somebody's lying. 100%. They could not grasp this, what you're seeing here. And there's a lot of money being made. This is not going to last. This may last for a couple, years of this gold rush, right? I'm sure it was even crazier a couple of years ago, but this is not going to last. Now, concentrated position. You're already like, okay, 8% a month, 100% annually. Amazing, right? Some things to consider. In V3, unlike V2 from my understanding, so V3 I know it does. I know you doesn't do this, but in V2 I'm not 100% sure. So in V3, as you earn fees, you go into, say here, right? You're going to be in a pool. So if you add to a pool, this is what comes up. Let me see if I can connect a wallet here for a second. You're going to come here. You're going to connect your wallet, right? And then, never mind. Gotta put in the password. Okay, so basically you connect your wallet and it's gonna, if you add a position, you're gonna put it in here, right? And that's gonna show up here when it's all done. And your NFT is gonna show up here. How you transfer that into your wallet, I have no idea, personally. It's not super important to me, but I will figure that out at some point. I'll make a video about it. But with V2, you actually get a LP token, right? But the point of this is not that you have an LP token or that you get an NFT. That in V3, it does not auto compound. Let's put this into perspective here. If somebody, let's add another zero here, so just because it's easier to think about this conceptually. If somebody has 100 grand in here and they're earning 8% per month and 100% annually, these numbers are not compounded, meaning month one, $8,200. $8,200 in month one. This $8,200 sits there and doesn't earn more money unless you do something about it. So if you were to add that to here, right, then you're at 89 for month number two. Right, so you take another $9,000 and you put this in here, and now you're at what, 17 or something like that. Right, now you're at 95, right? So you have to actually add these back into the pool, and then you earn way more than 100% on an annualized basis when you actually go through and compound them. So I wanted to highlight that. Now, the other thing that's very, very interesting about this, and then we're going to get into how to avoid slippage, because the stuff around slippage and not paying a fee and entering in and out of the market are going to be pretty advanced, from my opinion, that like is not going to apply to most people who watch this, because they're not going to grasp what we're talking about, in all honesty. So if you think you can grasp that stuff, then we're going to get into it in a minute. But let's talk about returns for a moment here. We put a price in here. The minimum where we would sell it for is $1,900, or the max would be $3,600, right? But what if we change this down? What if we brought this down to say $3,150, and maybe we bring this up to $2,000, and or maybe let's actually leave this at $1,800, right? And actually bring this down to $3,000. Why would somebody do that? First of all, right? Well, and this is more like, this will provide an even better example. Let's do this here. Let's do 2,800 or something like 2,600 and change, and let's do 1,725, right? So that's the range, and you get to see that the pink bar is in this top half of the range between the two green lines here. So why would somebody do something like that? Well, what if there was a expectation that the market in crypto was going to continue to sell off? Right? That'd be common, right? Terra blockchain, I think it runs on Cosmos, with the Luna and UST stablecoin, the Luna token and the UST stablecoin, was not holding its value yesterday, or its peg, and dropped to 60 cents on the dollar yesterday, 62 or 61 cents on the dollar. So that might be the catalyst for a bigger sell-off, right? I mean, there could be 1,000 reasons. I'm just giving one that's happened in the last 24 hours. It's still not holding its peg too, which I found kind of interesting. So say somebody changes this, right, because they believe the price is going to go down and they'd rather stay in the range longer. Let's look at their fees. So you come up here to the top. Now, you're earning 11%, 11% per month, and 141% annually. That is correct, my friends. 11% per month and 140+% annually. I couldn't even imagine trying to explain this to people at the bank that I used to work with. They would have blow their fucking minds. This is absolute insanity. And you can make these positions all the way over here. Right? Let's bring them in even closer. You're earning 18% a month, and you're like, oh wow, I'm just going to make a really close range. Well, that leads us into the next point here on how to not pay slippage. What is slippage? Let's see what InvestBeauty has to pay. Slippage in crypto. Let's see what they have to say about this. Slippage is the difference between expected price of an order and the price when the order actually executes, right? You press the button to trade, and by the time that actually goes through, the price has changed, right? So how could you use something like this to avoid slippage? Well, the cool thing about this concentrated liquidity is that you can do any size, right? We just had 10,000. So say you had your $100,000 bag and you have $10,000 of your $100,000 bag that you want to switch from asset A to asset B. And you don't like paying for slippage. You don't want to pay any of that. Well, let me show you what you can do. Again, this pink line here shows you what you got, or where the market currently is. So what if we had all Ethereum? As you can see here, this would be Ethereum. And what if you had the Ethereum and you wanted to switch to USDC? You can actually, and this goes right into point number 6 here, so it's point number 5 in terms of avoiding slippage and not paying a fee. Every time you go to trade on Uniswap, it is 0.3% to swap. There's, you can see here, right, that in this particular pair, it has 0.01%, 0.05%, 0.3%, and 1%. The vast majority of pairs are 0.3%. Some of the more like the pairs that are outside of like the norm, but they still could have decent trading volume, might have, let's say, 1% fee. Something like USDC and USDT are going to be probably the 0.01%, right, for the swapping fee. But the point is, you can avoid this fee completely by, say, placing this right next to there, right? So that means if you were to create this position in the Uniswap pool between USDC and ETH, you're not actually putting up two pairs. All you're doing is putting in ETH, 4.2 ETH, 4.3 ETH for 10 grand roughly. Now, if you expect the price to come up into this range, let's actually make this closer so we can make sense of it, right? So now you get to see that it's basically a thicker green line, right? Because they're so close together. You're going to provide liquidity between 2,375 and 31 cents and 2,392 and 13 cents, right? You're going to provide liquidity for a range of, less than 20 bucks. That means when the price is in that range, between 2,375 and 2,392, you are providing liquidity. So this does a couple of things. First of all, it's not going to show us an estimate of the fees here, but you would earn a boatload more fees, right? So that's the other benefit of this. Not only do you not pay to trade, pay for slippage by worse execution, right? In terms, that's what I say when that's what I mean when I say pay for slippage. You're just getting worse execution, right? And you earn fees. So you can avoid the fee of 0.3%. You can also avoid slippage. And you can go through and earn fees at the same time. So you can't currently do this in Pulsex, which is unfortunate, but you can do this in Uniswap. Say you had the other way around. Say you had USDC, you just deposited 2,500 bucks or 10 grand, and now you wanted to switch it over to ETH, right? So you could put this right by the pink line, right, and next to it, right? So that means in the range of 2,272 to 2,309, so a $30 and change range, you're going to provide liquidity, which allows you to avoid slippage, because then people are trading against you in the pair. What does that mean effectively? You deposited $9,000, 9,000, basically 10 grand for USDC. That's all you put in. You didn't put in any ETH. You just entered the pool here at this position, so you didn't have to put in any ETH. ETH trades down, right? And then what does that allow you to do? And you can move this really, you could put this basically exactly, the current price is 23.35 cents. You could actually click in here and put this at 23.35 cents, right? So that you know this can get executed, or you have a, let's call it a higher degree of positive probability that it will be executed. Because if the price turns the other direction, obviously it wouldn't get executed. But when it's really, really close like that, it has a decent chance. Now, because it's so concentrated, you're all in one position. Remember how I said that if you have a unwarranted fear of impermanent loss, that you should probably stop watching or go watch one of my other videos about impermanent loss to understand it better, then this you shouldn't do. But if you don't have that issue and you fully understand this, this will allow you to switch, because as soon as the pink line here goes from where it is through here, look at this chart here, right here in the middle, right? What does it say now? I'm 42 ETH, right? The price passes through this line here, and you switch all from one side to the other. That's what impermanent loss is, right? Assuming that there's a price differential, which would cause this. But you can use this to your advantage to get in and out of positions, not paying slippage, not paying a fee, and earning fees while doing this. Have you ever heard that before, that you can earn fees to trade? Yeah, it's real. Okay. Because you could always just set this exactly at the same price, like where the current market is, right? And you'd be fine. Or, you know what I mean? Like, just come outside of that by like a tick and you'd be perfectly fine. Now, when you take a look at all these things together, you want to be okay with holding either position, right? In this case, USDC ETH. You want to, in my opinion, these are the things that I'm going to be looking for. You pick whatever, right? Either a low TLV or low TLV relative to trading volume, so that there's a lot more trading volume than there is TLV, because then that rewards those people. There's more fees in that pool to be spread over those people. If the pool size is bigger, if people add liquidity to that, then the proportion of fees earned by the people in that pool go down. And you can utilize the concentrated liquidity to actually get into or get out of positions. The last thing on this is, say if the price of something runs up and you want to get into the position. You want some of that thing that runs up, but you think that there was some type of news that happened in the marketplace that caused this run up, and you expect a drop or a pullback to some degree in the price that would allow you to enter a position. Well, perfect. If that's your belief system and you see that you want to enter this position, you can get paid to get into the position that you want by using this. Whatever token that is, right? You can go over here, you can search for whatever, coin you want, right? Let's put in DAI here, right? So you put in the DAI token. I think I spelled that wrong. Let's just put this in, right? Whatever this is a media token. This is media thing right here. So you can pull this up. The only pair that's trading is ETH and media, right? So you're like, media is awesome, right? Kind of thing. Over the last 7 days, there's been $10,000 worth of trading volume. Pretty low relative to the TLV, right? Just a fraction of that. So you can go through and be like, okay, media has just run up, and I think there's going to be a pullback because of whatever belief system you have or information you have. So you can set this right below that. So if it comes down, with your ETH, you just enter it with ETH. Now, when media comes down, you are now fully into media and out of ETH, and then you get out of your position. So that's one thing you definitely need to do, is at least pay attention to this. But if you're watching this and you don't pay attention to your money, then you should probably stop watching. Just what it is. So think about this, right? Because if you had that position set up, right, like this here, and you now switch from, you're in USDC and you switch and now you're all in ETH, now you have to stop this position, right? You maybe earned a couple $100 of fees, but you didn't pay slippage, you didn't pay the 0.3% trading fee. You got what you want, you have your ETH. Now you got to close this position, because if the price comes back, the other direction, now you're back in USDC. Right? You earned more fees, but you're back in USDC. So if your end objective is to be in ETH, once this goes through like this, then you need to actually go through and close this position. Right? And to do that, you'd come over here to the pool and you'd get in here to actually close it. Right? My wallet, I need to enter my password, so it's not working. Now, let's do a quick recap of this. But before we do that, if you found this video interesting and helpful and unique, take a second, press the share button, share this with somebody else. I'm trying to grow the channel. Also, I'm trying to win a contest with my buddy. He's got 14,000 plus followers on Twitter, and if I can beat him, he'll give me 50,000 hex. I have to beat him by July 30th. So if you found value in this video and you're like, oh, this dude's kind of fucking a little whack job, but I'll help him out, then down below is my Twitter. Jump down below, click over to Twitter, press the follow button, look at one or two of the recent tweets, and retweet that, because the only way I can beat him, I'm at like 3,000 followers. So the only way I can beat him is with your help. Appreciate you guys. Also, you can check out my other YouTube channel. There should be an icon coming up here now, or my Instagram. I'll post on my Instagram stories daily. So if you want to check out that type of content, you can do that. Facebook group related to like SARMs and peptides and health and biohacking stuff is also down below. Appreciate you guys. Talk to you soon.